This video is for parallel lines and transversals. So parallel lines, A and B are my parallel, and then C is the transversal that cuts it. So anything that are outside those two parallel lines are exterior angles. Anything that's in between those two parallel lines are interior. And then inside, we've got all these different names. So remember, supplementary angles like 1 and 2, they're going to add up to 180. Same side interior, like 2 and 3. So same side, they're on the same side of that transversal, and they're inside my parallel lines. And then I have same side exterior, like 1 and 4. So these are on the same side of the transversal, but they're outside, they're exterior to those parallel lines. Vertical angles like 1 and 7, they kind of make that hourglass kind of look, shape. Corresponding angles, so 1 and 3, they're in the same position. So this one is above its parallel line and to the right of the transversal. And then you can see angle 3 here is above its parallel line and to the right of the transversal. And then alternate interior, like 2 and 6, they're on different sides of the transversal, but they're both still inside the parallel lines. And then alternate exterior, like 8 and 4, they're outside the parallel lines, and they're on different sides of that transversal. And so remembering the relationships is the hard part of this, but remember, you can use the patty wax, and you can trace one of your angles, and there's only two options here. So if you remember, they're either going to add up to 180 or they're going to equal each other. So you can trace one of your lines and rotate this around and check it with the other angle, and you can see that they line up perfectly. So what that tells me is these are going to be equal to each other. And then once you have an equation, you can solve it with your calculator. So 17x minus 70 equals 2x plus 5. And so here I would get x equals 5. And so same thing here to see if they are equal or if they're going to add up to 180. You just trace one of those angles, and then you can flip it around. And you can see here they line up perfectly. So those two angles are going to be equal to each other. And so here's again another example. And so if I slide this down, those two are going to be equal to each other. And so then here I've got a different type of problem. Now I've got all kinds of angles to pick from. So there's all different methods that I could use to solve this. But let's go ahead and let's look at angle 1 and angle 3. So if I measure angle 1 and I turn it around, you can see that those are equal. If you do measure angle 1 and angle 2, you can flip here, and then if you flip around to angle 2, you can see that it doesn't line up. And so that means when your two angles aren't the same side, so for example 1 and 2, they would add up to equal 180, and so then you can solve for x there as well. So that's it for this video.